Alright, good evening folks, it's Enforcer Matt, and welcome back to another short war video, and today we have very big news coming out of Ukraine and the Middle East. And specifically, we have major news coming from the Red Sea, because right now we're getting major news that a cargo ship has been attacked off the coast of Yemen yet again, and is now on fire and sinking into the Red Sea, and it happened right near the port of Al-Hodeida, which is where the Yemeni rebels happen to operate from. So, a very big story right now coming out of the Red Sea, and we're following that one very closely. We've also heard that the Russian Black Sea Fleet headquarters was attacked by Ukraine overnight in a massive UAV and drone boat attack by the Ukrainian armed forces, and meanwhile, in Moscow, airports have descended into complete chaos as flights have been grounded due to more Ukrainian drone attacks, and right now it's chaos in Moscow, and it is really a sight to behold. And we've also heard news as well out of China that Xi Jinping may be in extreme political peril in the Chinese government, as it looks like his power might be waning literally as of today. So we have very big news to cover, and let's jump right into our first article, which goes to World Source News 24/7. And this is one of our biggest news articles of the day. Right now we are hearing that in the Red Sea, according to a UK MTO warning, that an attack has been reported 51 nautical miles southwest of Al-Hodeida in Yemen, and the vessel was engaged by multiple small vessels with small arms and self-propelled grenades, meaning RPGs, and there's a fire on board of this vessel after being struck by unknown projectiles. The situation's ongoing, and the vessels are advised to transit with caution after this attack has occurred on this vessel. So, as you can see right here, here's the UK MTO warning from the UK Maritime Trade Operations Center, and you can see on the right there's Al-Hodeida, which is inside of Yemen, which is where the Houthis are known to operate out of, right there on that port. And right here in this red circle, that is the area of the event where the vessel is currently being attacked and on fire right now in the Red Sea. So we were told that the vessel did have a security team on board. An armed security team was on this vessel, and it's now been confirmed by the company's security officer that the vessel was struck by unknown projectiles, and it resulted in a major fire on board that vessel. So this is a very big ongoing situation right now, and it appears to be most likely another attack by the Yemeni rebels on a vessel here in the Red Sea. So a very big event that we're seeing this morning. But moving on to our next post here, this one goes to open source intel, and we've gotten more news on the vessel and why it was attacked and how it was attacked. And we can see right here in this post that some analysts are already calling this for probably what it is. They're saying the Iran-backed Yemeni rebels attacked this vessel, and the bulk carrier which was attacked is known as the Magic Seas, and it's also begun sinking according to the reports they were hearing as of right this minute, and the crew has abandoned the ship. So as you can see right here in the photo, this is the Magic Seas. This is the bulk cargo vessel that was attacked by most likely the Yemeni rebels or some force there in the region. So it appears to be already sinking, and that is a very bad thing, of course. And we do have the report down here from the UK MTO about this situation we just looked at a moment ago. So a very big event, and the ship is now sinking as a result of the attack. So unfortunately, it sounds like the armed security on board were not able to stop this attack all the way, and it looks like the vessel is going to be lost at sea. So not good, and once again a very big incident. But moving on to our next post here, we do have a post actually from our vessel tracking information from Marine Traffic telling us where the vessel came from and some more details about it, so that way we can kind of piece together the puzzle and figure out why this happened. So as we can see right here on the vessel tracking information, this was a vessel flagged out of Liberia. It was a bulk carrier like I mentioned, and this vessel right here, as you can see in this other photos that we have actually a ton of photos here on Marine Tracker showing these different photos in different areas where the vessel was. This has been a highly used vessel for bulk cargo carrying, and it appears to have been coming from China, from the port of Zhuhai, and it was heading to the Egypt-Suez Canal. So it looks like it was in transit through the Red Sea to Egypt when it was attacked. And we do see here, once again, it was reported that armed guards were on board this vessel, but it looks like they were not able to stop this attack from actually being carried out. So very interesting to see, and it looks like it was attacked using multiple different weaponry, including drone boats and also RPGs as well, that we're hearing about in these reports. So very interesting to hear, and we're going to keep a sharp eye on that to see exactly what the U.S. response is to this major incident. But moving on from this onto our next post here, this one goes to War Translated. And we're going to switch gears real quick away from our news out of the Red Sea and onto our news out of Russia, because right now we've seen massive drone attacks on Russia overnight, and in fact it looks like we see reports saying that drones and uncrewed surface vessels attacked Novorossiysk, which is in Russia's Krasnodar region, overnight. And of course Novorossiysk is the area that Russia uses as the Black Sea Fleet port, and this is a very crucial port to the Russian naval fleet, and we do see here in our video apparently a massive attack underway by the Ukrainians. So let's take a look and see the damage and how large this attack was in Novorossiysk. So you can see right here, this is the scenes coming out of Novorossiysk. Absolute chaos here where the Black Sea Fleet is currently stationed in Novorossiysk, and it is wild. There's tracers going everywhere, and there's drones all in the skies right here from Ukraine that's attacking this port. So wild scenes right now coming out of Novorossiysk, and also we're hearing of the UAVs and also the drone boats attacking, so obviously a very big attack. Here's another clip from a civilian on the ground. And you can hear out in the distance some major explosions happening right here from this footage. Also, here's another angle, very obscured from the visuals, but you can hear in the background some more major explosions here at Novorossiysk, some big ones in the background, in fact. And you see that Ivan's definitely freaking out. He's very unsure about what's happening here, very concerned. Also, we're about to see one more clip here. You're about to see some more major explosions, and also the sirens going off in the background as well. And some more major explosions happening here at the port of Novorossiysk, and they're saying it's happening somewhere at sea, according to the people in the video, but we were told, and we did see, that it was happening at the port of Novorossiysk there, where the Black Sea Fleet is stationed. So a big video right there showing those attacks. But moving on to our next post here, this one goes to Ust-Luga, and we've also seen even more footage of these attacks on the port, and right here we did see that the focus of the UAV strikes was the Black Sea Fleet port, like I mentioned, and happened all night and even into the morning hours, so a very prolonged drone attack. And the attached video that we're about to watch shows an object on fire off the coast near that area, suggesting that drone boats were likely in use by Ukraine when they attacked this port. So a dual attack with UAVs and drone boats as well. So let's take a look at the video and see what we can spot in the water right off the port. Alright, so as you can see, there's car alarms going off. There's obviously been a major explosion, and right there in the distance, right there in the water, you can actually see there is something on fire right there, out there off the port. There it is right there. It's clearly on fire. It's out here right near the port of Novorossiysk, and we're being told by early reports that could be a Ukrainian drone boat which was struck by the Russians as it was coming in for a hit on the port. So we did see that right there, which does show us something being hit, but we're not really entirely sure what it was, but it's right there off the coast of Novorossiysk. But moving on to our next post here, this one goes to Ust-Luga, and we've also gotten another view of something being hit right off the port. And of course, we did hear the air raid alarms going off. We heard all those car alarms going off as well. And we're seeing right here another piece of footage. So let's take a look at this one and see how major this one was. So right here you can see it. There goes something right there. It appears the Russians have fired maybe, and it looks like it did hit something right there in the water that we can see here on video. So we're being told once again this was another Ukrainian drone boat that was hit by the Russians, and we actually saw the exact moment the Russian munition came right in and hit this drone boat, if that's indeed what this was. But it appears to be the fires engulfing a rectangular area, which would seem to match the profile of a drone boat right there off the port. So I'm really uncertain about what that is. I'm leaning toward the idea it's a Ukrainian drone boat, but of course it could be technically anything. It could be maybe the Russians firing at a little fishing vessel or something, but we're seeing that right there. And this is in the early morning hours near the port. So another video showing us that angle right there, and that basically wraps up that video as a whole. So with that, we're moving on to our next article here, and this one goes to Ust-Luga, and we also got some more photos showing two separate objects that we just saw in the last two videos, more up close near the port. And right there you can see there is one of them burning right there. It looks like the fire has pretty much gone out, and there's pretty much just smoke billowing up from that object. We also have another one here showing that last video we just saw, and also one more photo showing us the first video as well. So we've seen two objects get hit according to this post right here, but we're still not entirely sure what they were. So we're going to sort of withhold judgment for the moment and wait for more info to come out. But jumping into our next post here, this one goes to Max25, and we've got some very bad news for Russia coming out of the port of Ust-Luga, because we've heard right here in this post that Russian media is now reporting that the tanker for transporting nitrate fertilizers, the Eco Wizard, has allegedly crashed in the Russian port of Ust-Luga, and witnesses have heard an explosion, after which a tanker gradually began to sink according to eyewitness reports, and the crew was completely evacuated. So right here we do see a picture of the alleged vessel, which apparently, according to the eyewitness reports, was heard exploding and sinking near the port of Ust-Luga in Russia. So it seems like the Russians might have lost a ship of their own today, and it looks like the fate has turned turned around on the Russian vessels a little bit, because now we're hearing of this. So sounds to be a pretty big incident. And to show you exactly where this allegedly occurred, here is a Google map showing you where Ust-Luga is in relation to Russia and the Baltic states as well. And you can see there's Estonia right here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a bit, and you can see there's St. Petersburg off to the right, and Ust-Luga is the very important Russian port right here, which is right near Estonia and also the Baltic states and right close to St. Petersburg. And this was allegedly where the vessel was going before it crashed and allegedly started sinking right near the port of Ust-Luga. So it appears to be this vessel carrying allegedly nitrate fertilizers apparently crashed. So a big loss for Russia and also a big incident right there off the coast. But jumping into our next post here, we have more news, this time from Nexta, about chaos erupting in Moscow at the airports and the surrounding areas as well. And honestly, it seems like chaos is erupting pretty much every day at Moscow at this point, because today we've heard of aviation chaos erupting in Moscow, Russia, with flights being canceled pretty much widespread and people sleeping on the floors and also fighting with one another in some of these videos and also singing Katyusha, which appears to be what the Russians love to do when they feel like they need to cope. So we're seeing here that according to the Post, Russia's airports are paralyzed as hundreds of flights are delayed or canceled due to the ongoing threat of Ukrainian drone attacks. In Pulkovo, we've seen at least 48 flights delayed, 74 canceled, and at Sheremetyevo, we've seen 174 flights canceled in the evening and 47 more delayed, and the Russians have implemented the carpet plan, which means basically they're expecting drone strikes and they're trying to make sure there's no passenger jets in the sky that could unintentionally run into one of these drones that Ukraine's launching at Moscow. So it appears to be a very big event, and we do have some video footage here in our next post, which goes to Max 25, and this footage is coming out of the Sheremetyevo airport near Moscow. So let's take a look and see the airport crowded and absolutely in chaos as a result of the carpet plan being implemented yet again. And as you can see right here, there are tons of Russians just standing around and waiting for the flights to be able to take off again. And they're all waiting right here, as you can see, heavily here in the building in the terminals. So that was one video showing the chaos. And I'm going to try to show you one more in our last post here. So let's take a look at this one and see exactly how bad it was. So we can see this gent right here is telling us about how bad the flights are being delayed and canceled due to the carpet plan. And you see he's walking around here, very much focused in on his face, actually. We'd like to see what's happening around. But as you can see right here, there are a bunch of bags on the floor. There's people literally just sleeping on the floor right there. And they're all waiting for their flights to be able to resume once again. And you see there's literally a board showing the cancellations all over the place and delays all over the board right there. So that's why all the airports in Moscow are in chaos right now. And I can't show you the videos of the Russians like singing to cope with it, because they're all singing Katyusha in the airport, and apparently that'll get us copyright if we play that, but it's happening in pretty much all their airports right now, and it's absolute chaos. So that's what's happening in Moscow, a crazy scene, well, once again. But moving into our next post here, this one goes to Osin Intuit, and we've also heard of more major attacks by the Ukrainians on multiple different military sites across Russia and the surrounding Russian republics. And not only is Ukraine launching new strikes on Russian sites, but also we got an update to an attack we saw last night on an industrial complex near Chuvashia Republic, and we did see the video yesterday on our stream, but we do have an update today. So first of all, let's take a look at the video once again to remind you of this major attack before I go into the damage report about what was hit. So right here you can see there's the Ukrainian Lyuti coming in to hit this building here in the Chuvashia Republic, and a nice gentle glide slope right into the top of the building. We did see that last night on the stream, and also you can see there's some dogs that are running off right here in the bottom. Look, all the dogs are taking off. They don't have that dog in them, I guess. But anyways, you can see right there in the building, they got hit badly, and there's some more smoke coming off of it. And we were wondering, what was this building that got hit? And today, we've gotten the news to show you exactly what was hit and give you a damage report about this massive explosion here on this facility. And jumping right back into our initial post, the target of the strike on a building in the Chuvashia Republic was the Progress factory, which manufactures adaptive satellite antenna arrays used in Shahed drones, Iskanders, and Fab UPMK modules to defeat EW countermeasures for the Russian armed forces. So a very crucial building, and we did see here on the firm satellite map from NASA, there was indeed massive fires here on that location, which we were able to geolocate in the footage showing that Lyuti hitting it there in this Republic of Russia. So it was a confirmed hit, and it was a very important Shahed factory which produced antenna arrays for these EW countermeasures. So very important for the Russian military, and it was hit, and it looks like pretty much wiped out by that Lyuti that carried in a ton of explosives. So a very big hit. But moving into our next post here, this one goes to Null Reports, and we've also gotten big news about a successful strike on an airfield in Russia as well. And we can see right here that Boroshno reports a likely successful strike on the Borosoglepsk airfield during the night of July 5th, and firm confirmed satellite data also shows massive fires burning for over 24 hours, suggesting drone hits on fuel tanks and components of guided bombs, and the site reportedly hosts up to 10 Su-34s. So it sounds like there could be another strong possibility of Russia losing some Su-34s, and this could be another big loss because Russia's been losing jets out of the blue for quite many weeks now, actually. Quite a few jets being lost. But as you can see, massive fires being reported here on the location of the airfield, and this raises the probability of more fighter jets being lost tremendously because we're seeing here massive fires right here. It appears to be on the flight line of the airfield itself. So a big hit, and once again, this is another hit on this airfield that we're seeing as of just a day ago. So very interesting to see. But moving on to our next post here, this one is going to go to Military News Ukraine. And not only did we see an airfield getting hit by the Ukrainians, but also we've seen the results of a HIMARS MLRS strike on one of the Russian bases, and the MLRS really did a number on this Russian base. So let's take a look at this. The damage is quite crazy to see on camera, so let's take a look and see how bad the Russians' base was hit with the HIMARS missiles. And you can see right here, this is a Russian walking around the remains of a Russian base. I'm going to go ahead and mute that, by the way. It's very loud, him walking through this thing. But as you can see, this place was eviscerated by the HIMARS MLRS system. This thing, look at that. I mean, the whole thing is just like wrecked. It's destroyed. This is a Russian base where they were operating from, and it's been wrecked. Like, these missiles came in and just took the roof down. It looks like it mangled a bunch of metal, too, that was sitting around, and it turned the place into absolute, look at that. I mean, look at that. The whole roof's gone on that thing. That is major damage from those MLRS right there. So that was the Russians documenting the damage for whatever reason. I guess they just want to document it for an insurance claim or something. I don't know. But, you know, the Russians love documenting the damage, but it's really crazy to see right there in that post. But moving on to our next one here. This one goes to War Translated, and we've gotten some very unfortunate footage here in this post showing the Russians releasing footage on their own accord, on their own volition, showing their drones, the Russian drones, deliberately targeting Ukrainian rescue workers. And this is obviously deliberate. I mean, where it's right here. It literally shows them attacking a Ukrainian fire truck as these people were apparently pulling people from the rubble. The firefighters were rescuing people when they were attacked by the Russians. So let's take a look at this, and once again, more evidence of Russian war crimes that they're apparently proud of, because now they're posting videos of it online of them hitting the Ukrainian rescue workers. So let's take a look. So as you can see right there, that is a Ukrainian fire truck, by the way, and clearly doing rescue operations, and here is a Russian drone striking the front of this fire truck. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up. They literally released the video thinking it would make themselves look good, and they're documenting their own war crimes here on camera. We've never really seen anything quite this direct of them attacking the Ukrainian firefighters directly. You can literally see the emblem on the front of the fire truck. That's the Ukrainians right there. This is really the epitome of a war crime here on camera, and luckily, I don't appear to see any of the Ukrainian rescue workers in the front of the cab, thankfully, so it must have just actually damaged the truck, which is probably the best case scenario. It looks like the firefighters were behind the truck, actually, and they might have even seen the drone coming, so they're able to get out of the way. So just very disturbing to see that once again, and showing you the depravity of the Russian armed forces getting more and more desperate. But moving into our next post here, this one goes to Ocean Defender, and we've also seen a very interesting piece of footage showing the Ukrainians using a brand new unmanned ground vehicle to transport munitions and other supplies to the front lines inside of Ukraine. So right here you see, there it is right there. It looks like Uber Eats, but it's really not Uber Eats. It's more like Ukrainian delivery of munitions, more like it. But that's an unmanned vehicle the Ukrainians developed, so that way they don't have to put troops in harm's way by transporting munitions to the front. They just send in this robot now to deliver it like Uber Eats, but it's for ammunition. So it's really honestly crazy to see, and shows you the Ukrainians are really advancing quick when it comes to their technology and coming up with very ingenuitive ways to get the stuff to the front lines without putting their people in danger. So very interesting to see, and once again, I'm actually very impressed by that. And we have seen videos of this before, but just another one showing you this thing going to the front line. So very interesting to see. But moving on to our next post here, this one goes to Military News Ukraine, and we've also gotten more news of Putin apparently wanting to purge more Russian billionaires even right now as of today. Because we've heard that Russian billionaire Strukov, which is the head of a gold giant in Russia, apparently the largest private gold mining company in Russia, and a deputy to the Chelyabinsk Regional Council, was allegedly detained by the FSB, the Russian security services, when he tried to flee Russia on a private plane to Turkey. And here's apparently a picture of him on his private plane right here. Sort of an odd picture. I'm not sure what he's sleeping or something there. Somebody took a picture of him on a plane. But as you can see, it appears to be he wants an apple, he wants some water, but now he just wants basically oatmeal from the gulag, because apparently that's where he's heading, at least according to the post. And the FSB apparently do not want to let him flee because they want to hold him accountable for something, or they want to try to purge him or something. So this is not the most recent one right here. We of course heard about about Strukov today, but there was an oil executive which fell out of a window 2 days ago or 3 days ago that we just heard about as well. So Putin is clearly back on another purge of these billionaires inside of Russia because he probably senses that people are getting tired of his war, really not making any progress. And once that happens, Putin gets right back on the purging spree, and it appears he's back on it this time. He's getting multiple billionaires in a row, and it looks like he is getting scared that people might be turning on him very soon. So that's another sign of it right there. But moving into our next post here, this one goes to Inside Geopolitics. And let's switch gears away from our news about Russia for just a moment and move on to some news coming out of China, because a lot of people have been asking us over the last few days what is happening in China with Xi Jinping, because something is brewing and we're really not sure what it is. But today we've gotten some more clarification about the status of Xi Jinping. Today we've heard that Xi Jinping's unexpected absence from the BRICS summit, the first in his 12-year rule, which is obviously very significant, has ignited quiet but growing speculation about political instability at the heart of the Chinese Communist Party. And in a system where image and control are everything, even minor absences and reshuffles can signal deeper tensions. And Xi's prolonged silence as of right now, the purging of senior military officials, and a fading cult of personality, it's coming amid an economic slowdown in China, also unrest amongst the youth, and the long shadow of disastrous response to another issue inside of China. And now China's global rise is stalling, internal pressures are mounting, and the world's watching, apparently for signs that the era of the Xi Jinping dominance may be entering its twilight, and this was according to reporting from the Telegraph. So obviously it's impossible to tell exactly what's going to happen for certain, but it appears to be that Xi Jinping is going into some form of silence here. It's unclear exactly why that is, but I think that does signal, I do agree here with the poster, that apparently Xi Jinping is starting to lose dominance. He's starting to be questioned by people that are under him for his ability to lead the country. So we could be seeing maybe a very light beginning of a subtle overthrow or a subtle questioning of Xi Jinping's power inside of China. So we're going to keep a sharp eye on that one. Of course, if something like that happens, that would be major. So it's probably in the early stages right now. Don't expect Xi Jinping to simply disappear for good tomorrow. It's probably not going to happen that way, but we do see here the beginnings of some questioning of the Xi Jinping regime. So very interesting to see here in this post. But with that, folks, that is actually our last piece of news for the day. And I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and hopefully it was informative. And if it was, smack the like button and also subscribe to the channel as well for more daily war news updates just like this one. And of course, we will cover all the rest of the news happening throughout the day on our war stream tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, so be sure to join us for that. And also, if you want to support our work and keep our channel running, we do have a Patreon page, and the link is in the description below for Patreon, where you can go over there and sign up for a monthly membership, and it can be as little as $5 if you want it to be. Any amount helps us tremendously, because of course we're crowdfunded by the viewers, and through your viewer support, we're able to do this full time and make this a full-time effort to keep you all informed of every event around the world, and also to keep the entire show running every single night to bring in the news as it happens. So we do appreciate that very much, and of course we'll see you all tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, and with that, bye-bye for now.